Today we're taking a look at the 2024 Acer Predator Helios Neo 14. This is a really long name for a gaming laptop. Acer Helios 14 or Acer Neo 14 would just roll off the lips a little bit easier. But look, this laptop is in a weird place because it's retailing for $1,800. That nets you an RTX 4070, so technically it's cheaper than the Zephyrus G14 and obviously significantly cheaper than the Blade 14. But there's a few things about this laptop that might make you want the G14 instead, which I'll get to shortly. And look, it's a beautiful looking laptop. It's a bit more on the aggressive side in terms of how it looks. It's really geared towards gamers, obviously. And you have this lid with these digital lines going across the space. It's metal on the top. The logo over here does light up. So like when you turn the laptop on, this will have different RGB colors that you can obviously customize. The back over here is made out of plastic, but the bottom of the laptop is also metal. The overall weight is not too bad. Like you're looking at just over 4 pounds, 4.25 pounds, but you do get a good amount of I/O. The downside though is that the ports are all the way in the front. So like when your power cable is connected, it comes out in a left, and it just, if you're left-handed like me, might be a little bit annoying, but look, you do have a USB-A port, a Thunderbolt 4 port, and a combo audio jack. And then on the other side, you have your HDMI 2.1, USB-A, USB Type-C, which is also 3.2, and a micro SD card slot. Now, the display can't go all the way back to 180 degrees, but it does go further back than most other laptops. The thing I noticed right away when I opened up this laptop for the first time was that the hinge is solid. Like, this is a very good hinge. Like, they did a really good job. It's definitely tighter than the hinge on the G14. Also, if you haven't noticed, I've been like wiping this thing down every 10 seconds because it just picks up a lot of fingerprints, as most dark laptops do. Now, the keyboard deck is a good size. I'm glad they didn't try to cram a numpad on a 14-inch form factor, but the keys themselves are a bit mushy. They're not my favorite keys. Like, I didn't have any issues typing with it. Like, my typing was still nice and fast, but they're kind of soft. And then when you press in the middle over here, it's just not that rigid. Like, there's a lot of squishiness to talk about. But you do have big arrow keys, 3 zones of RGB. You can obviously change it to various different colors. This is not a power button. This is the turbo button to maximize the fan noise and obviously the power. Because it's on battery mode, the most you can go up to is balanced mode. So that's all you're gonna get on battery. If you wanna take advantage of turbo, it has to be plugged into the wall. Predator Sense key over here, which will load up the software, which has, a pretty decent look. You can change the scenarios. Like right now, my only option is eco and balanced, but if I plug it in, I'll see performance and turbo. There's also a bunch of other AI stuff baked into the software. I'm not gonna go through all of it, but it's really gimmicky stuff. Like you can create icons and use a few other things, but it's nothing really to write home about. Besides that, you do have an updated control key. It's now a Windows Copilot, which a lot of laptops are doing. Personally, I like it because I do use Copilot, but I know some of you don't. That's fine. But the sticker placement, crooked. If we're talking about a crooked sticker placement over here, the sticker guy just does not care about his job. I mean, like, look at this. This Predator Helios Neo 14, he was at least 4 beers in when laying this one down. Intel guy doesn't care because he hates NVIDIA, so he just kinds to go straight, but GeForce guy is just not having it. So sticker placement is just not my thing today. But look, the display is where things get interesting because, again, the G14 is only $200 more, and that gets you this beautiful OLED display. But also for a few $100s less, you can buy a G14 with an OLED display but a 4060, which begs the question on why Acer didn't put a slightly better display on this. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible display by any means. Like, it's 2560 by 1600, it's IPS, it's 120 Hertz, which is a little lower than the competition, but it does support G-Sync. The color accuracy is great, the color gamut is good, but it just doesn't compare to what the G14 is offering, or even the better panel that's on the Blade 14. It's a matte display, so you're just not going to get a lot of reflections either. All right, so this is what the 1080p webcam looks like, just based on first impressions. It doesn't look too good. My face is completely blown out, but you guys let me know how the microphones sound. Now, my SKU comes with an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H paired with an RTX 4070 that has a TGP of 125 watts. You have the 14-inch display, you get a terabyte of storage, all for $1,800. And look, the performance on this guy has been absolutely consistent. Single core clock speeds are exactly where they should be. Same holds true for multi-threaded performance. If you're buying this to also do some sort of design work or productivity, Photoshop is running exactly where it should be. Photoshop is very RAM hungry, so obviously if you have more RAM, it's gonna boost the scores a little bit higher, but it also performed very well with Premiere Pro. Even the Mozilla Firefox compile test performed exactly, again, where it should be for this CPU. Now, because this is an RTX 4070, as long as you're getting 100 watts, you're pretty much maxing out performance. And I was looking at the scores compared to the Blade 14, and the frames per second are almost identical. They're very, very neck and neck. So you are getting true RTX 4070 performance. It doesn't matter if you're gaming at 1920 by 1200 or at 2560 by 1600. My only complaint is that I do wish the display had a higher refresh rate. 120 hertz is not bad, but I feel like for this price point and this being a competitive gaming laptop, it should really be at least 165. Even when this thing is under full load, the CPU temps were incredible, all extremely low, like zero complaints there. And even the average core clock speeds were closer to the 3000 megahertz range, which is pretty good for this type of CPU. Fan noise is even better compared to previous Acer laptops. Like when this is on turbo mode using the automatic fan profile, the loudest it got was like 53 decibels, which is great. And then of course you can reduce that fan noise if you go ahead and switch to different profiles. I should also mention the speakers. There's two bottom firing speakers. They're okay. They don't sound the greatest, and obviously they're not as good as the competition. But look, the internals are pretty much what you'd expect, except for one thing. You do have a swappable drive right here, which you can obviously place in something bigger if you want to. Swappable Wi-Fi card, which is Wi-Fi 6E. You have a 74 watt-hour battery, and it only got about 4 hours and about 20 minutes of use before needing to charge. The good news though is that the CPU does have thermal liquid grease or metal on it, so it will essentially run like a degree cooler, but it doesn't have it on the GPU. The only downfall to this format is that you can't upgrade the RAM. Like this has 16 gigabytes of soldered on memory, and I can't upgrade it in the future. So here's the thing. I really like the Neo 14. It's a great laptop. Like I had such a good, consistent experience in terms of performance with this product, but it's a tough sell because look, you're looking at the Blade 14, and obviously this is a better buy than that. It's just significantly cheaper. But the Blade 14, you have upgraded components like the RAM. The bigger question is the G14, because the G14 for $300 less, or a couple $100 less, you get the same specs, and instead of an RTX 4070, it's a 4060. But you get that beautiful AMOLED display, you get better battery life, you get a better keyboard, and you get better sound. I'd rather pay a little less and get the RTX 4060 because let's face it, the difference in terms of performance between a 4060 and 4070 is not that significant, than spend $1,800 on this and then have all those other little things sacrificed. Either way, you guys let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.